This is real life example number 2, something that I find when I ride on the bus and the metro system here in the city. I came out of work one day and I got on the bus, and in the buses in the city we have 2 levels. We have a lower level and then a few stairs and then an upper level where there's a few seats in the back. I was sitting in the back of the bus reading my newspaper on the way back home, and as the bus started to fill up, I started to look down and I noticed there was really no space left down there, at which point a young woman boarded the bus, and she was pregnant. And she was so far along in her pregnancy that she wasn't even able to walk. She was in the waddling phase. So it was obvious that this person needed a place to sit down. So I'm looking over the heads and I see that no one is getting up to have this person sit down. To my surprise and pleasure, the bus driver got up and came down the aisle and said, "Here's the deal, folks. This bus ain't moving until somebody gets up and gives this lady a seat." At which time I wanted to see what the signs were on the windows and the chairs of the bus that instruct and command people to get up out of their seat if a handicapped or other person needs that seat. Because giving up your seat for somebody that needs it is not a regional courtesy. It's a federal civil rights law. And the law compels the transportation agencies to post a sign on the window and the door. So of course I can hardly sleep the whole night because I'm anxious to go back down the next day and see what the sign says that instructs people to get out of their seats. Now, nobody expects you to be a plain language psychotic like I am, where you can't even walk down the street without having an anxiety attack because of the words that you see. But at least as beginning plain language practitioners, you should be able to look at these words now and see them, as I promised you, differently than you've ever seen them before. So I'm going to show you the exact words on that sign in the bus. You better be able to look at them and say, hey, is there any pronouns, and is it a passive voice construction? Take a look. Now please take a moment, use some pronouns, use an active voice construction, and please put that into plain language that works. There are many possible solutions. There's not just one, but hopefully you used a pronoun like you and a correct word of obligation. You must give these seats to seniors and disabled persons. I've gone to other communities and other cities, of course, now because I plan my vacations around investigating different bus systems to find out what their signs look like. And on one place, in fact it was in Honolulu, I saw a great sign that said, "Vacate your seat for someone who needs it." Very clear, active voice. But again, these are plain language samples of things that exist in daily life, and I hope are demonstrating to you that you're starting to have the beginnings of a new skill. Let's take another look at another live, real-world example. Here's the last real-life example I promised I would share with you. The NASA memo that was sent from the engineering staff up to the executive launch team to let the executive launch team know that the O-rings would fail on the shuttle if they launched below 32 degrees, freezing, right? These are not hidden documents. It is public information. Anybody can have this. Now, I told you if I showed this to you at the beginning of the day, it wouldn't make any sense and it would look perfectly fine. But now when you look at this memo and you use the criteria of pronouns and passive voice constructions, the hope and the fantasy is that you will be able to see it differently than you've ever done before. Let's take a look. These are the exact words in that memo. No pronouns and a passive voice construction. Please experiment with that and put it into plain language that can save lives. Of the options you came up with, hopefully something looked reasonably close to, if you launch below 32 degrees, the O-rings will fail. Or just don't launch below 32 degrees or the O-rings will fail. It's just a slight change in the wording, but it can make all the difference in the world. It can make the executive launch team know they're the ones that have to pay attention to this and that it's a significant problem that needs their attention. And with the conclusion of that particular exercise, I would like to be the first to say congratulations, and you are now graduates of the FAA Plain Language course.